So this is the backstory to how I became a stripper. I was divorced, sleeping on a mattress on the floor at my mama's house with my son. I was depressed. I was confused. I was crying out to God, feeling ashamed that I was going through this divorce, because at that time I did not believe in divorce. I believe when you get married before God, that's it. That marriage is not about your happiness. It's about you honoring God through your marriage. And I was confused, like, well, why am I going through this? So I spent some time going through that depression. I literally had nothing. I had no money, no car. So we were already down to one car. I had no phone at the time, and I ended up losing my job because at the time we were down to one car. And my job, I used to walk to work at the bank. I had a banking job that was close to where we lived, and I would walk to work. So when I moved to my mom's house as a result of the divorce, it was too far for me to walk to work. So I ended up losing my job, even though we had a car at the house, because I worked during the day, he worked night shift, but he wouldn't let me use the car that I co-signed for him to get. But that's another story. Just painting a picture of what it was at the time, what I was going through. So we went through the divorce. He said he wanted the divorce because he was young and he did not get to live his life. Okay, fine, there we go. So I'm praying. I'm still praying, y'all. I was still praying. I was a church girl, just so y'all know. At the time, I grew up in church, and I was a teen mom. We were high school sweethearts, and I wasn't like a club type of person. I wasn't like a drinker. Really, I drank like maybe occasionally, but I didn't drink. I didn't curse. I was like a good girl back then. It's contrary to what you see now, but back then I was. And so everything I was going through, like, y'all, I did not see it. Like how bad a relationship that was, I didn't see it back then. Like I was literally still praying and believing God for my marriage. So eventually, because at this point in time, he's like, yeah, I want a divorce. He's outside riding around the car. I go sign for him to get with another woman, just having a good old time, right? So I'm still praying. Yeah, I was praying. I was still praying. God gonna fix our marriage. God gonna heal it. And really too, because we'd already been through so much. We had gone through a lot that, I had stayed through. And so eventually, after probably few months, I finally stopped praying for God to fix the marriage, and I started just praying for God's will to be done. And when I started just praying for God's will to be done, it allowed me to just make peace with what it was and move on and move forward. Because I always felt like in prayer, when you pray for God's will to be done, I always feel like that's the perfect prayer, because that's above what you think, how things ought to be. So just start praying for God's will to be done and let it go. So after that, y'all know, when it's in you, when greatness is in you, you always gonna bounce back. So had zero, zilch, nothing. I'm using a Google Voice. This is back in the day, y'all. So I was using like a Google Voice to apply for jobs. So when jobs called me for interviews, because I didn't have no phone. So I had like my mom's computer, and I'm using Google Voice. That's how I made my phone calls. And because he had broke my cell phone, so I didn't have one. So applying for jobs, y'all. Now, mind you, I don't have no car, so I'm applying for jobs like literally in faith. So I get another job at another bank, right? how about I got the job and a friend had heard about what I was going through and I didn't have a car and had just bought a car, like a cash car, a few weeks ago. Wasn't using it, just bought it, just had it sitting in their driveway. Heard about what I was going through, drove the car down to, from out of town, drove the car to me. And by the time it was my first day to go to work, I had a car, y'all, to get to work. So God was always with me and looking out for me. So got a car, got a job, getting some money, I'm feeling good. You know, I get the mattress up off the floor so we can sleep a little more comfortable. And so everything's going good, right? Getting better, we moving on. I filed the divorce papers. I'm like, fine, we getting a divorce. Okay, it's over. So eventually I'm like, you know what? I want to, get back to me and finding myself and my happiness. And I'm like, well, what are the things that I enjoyed before I became a mom and before I became a wife? Like, who was I? Like, what did I enjoy doing? What, used to light me up inside? And the first thing came to mind was dancing. Like, I always loved to dance. Like, I always say, like, I could dance before I could walk. Like, at our family gatherings and functions, dancing was always involved. We're that kind of family. Like, turn the music on and we gonna cut up. So I'm like, okay. So I get on Google and I find me some dance studios in the area. So I find one and I go to the dance studio like maybe 2 or 3 times a week after I get off work from the bank. So I'm doing that just for fun, right? So then I'm feeling good, I'm getting back to myself, I'm feeling more full and happy, right? So then my mom tells me that she is moving and that when she moves, I gotta move too. So I'm like, okay. So at this point in time, I've always been entrepreneurial. So I had like I was doing a network marketing business at the time, and it wasn't really doing what I needed it to do, or at least not quick enough. So I was trying to think like, how can I make some money quickly because I gotta move. And my job pay was okay, but I knew that when I moved to pay bills and stuff on my own, I was gonna need more money. And I always like to think ahead and set myself up for the future. So one thing I always wanted to do was get into real estate. I always wanted to get into real estate, invest in real estate. So back then my idea was to get my real estate license, and I did not have enough money to do that with just the pay from my job. It wasn't gonna be enough. So I'm like, I need some money fast. Like, I gotta move really, really quickly. And at that time, the business was not moving quick enough. I'm like, I don't have no time to go work, trade dollar for hour. I don't have time for that. I need to make some money. And dancing just came to mind because I was already doing it for fun. So I'm like, like it was like an aha moment, like the light bulb went off. I'm like, okay, go to the strip club, go dance. So I had never known anybody in that lifestyle, and I didn't know nothing about it. Like, I've been to a strip club maybe once or twice at that time, and it was kind of because some friends had like dragged me there to go. Like, I wasn't a party girl. I like to be at home. So I get on Google, and it wasn't like it is now. Like, now you can find a lot of stuff. You can find videos inside the strip club, girls vlog about it. Back then it was not. It was literally just some blogs, and it was more from Caucasian women talking about strippers. So they, of course, their experience is different, slightly to, African Americans in Black clubs. They just talked about it like so, professional. They spoke very professional, which matched my energy because I was a professional woman as well. So like I'm getting different tips on etiquette and, you know, just how to be in the club and how to make your money. So I was excited. Like I'm a Capricorn, y'all. So I was like, you know, lining it out like how I gotta show up. And so nobody knew that I was going to the strip club. I had a boyfriend at the time, and I told him about it. And he was like, okay, yeah, cool. But other than him, nobody else knew that I was going to the strip club. And I only told him because I felt it was important for somebody to know what I was doing and what I was getting into. But yeah, like that's how I got started.